This is She Asks with Humble Howard. For the record.
Yes.
You're Howard Glassman, or Humble Howard Glassman.
Howard Glassman. And I'm going to do something for you right now. I'm going to turn my phone off. And I'm going to direct my attention completely to you, sweet Barbara.
Where were you born?
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
And what brought you to Toronto? Was it radio?
I didn't come here from Moose Jaw. I went to Vancouver to do radio and stand-up comedy. Then I went to Calgary to do radio and a CBC television show and comedy. Then I quit all of that and went to Los Angeles to do nothing but stand-up comedy for about 4 years. And then I moved to Montreal to do stand-up comedy and radio. And then I moved to Toronto in 1989 because of radio.
And where did you meet Fred?
I met him the radio station that became The Edge hired me to do mornings there.
Oh, so they brought you two together.
A guy that had been my dear friend for many years in radio was the program director of CFNY, later The Edge. He knew me. I'd been a morning guy in Canada for, at that point, off and on for some years, and he had this sportscaster, Fred Patterson, who'd been working on several different shows at 102.1, and he hired me to do the morning show and thought that Fred would make a great side partner. That's how the Humble and Fred show was birthed.
And he was right.
Well, yes.
How important is winning to you?
In what? In radio or in life?
In life. In I don't
You
know.
mean, am I driven to succeed?
Are you competitive?
Very much so.
Does that drive you to fly airplanes? And what other obsessions do you have that are
I've got a lot
golf?
of them. Yeah, I also ride a unicycle. I snowboard.
You do not.
I do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I snowboard. I wakeboard. I've taken classes at the university. I golf, obviously. I think being competitive for me is I don't mind looking stupid when I'm learning something, and a lot of people, and I've never minded that. I've never minded the first day experiences in life, and I've sort of sought them out. You know, I didn't take up snowboarding until my 40s somewhere. I've been skiing since I was a kid, and my daughter came back from her first lesson and said, "Daddy, you're going to love this," and I did. But I don't mind that first day when you're kind of awkward and embarrassed. Well, you feel like change is coming, but I like that feeling, actually. So yeah, that's how I'm competitive that way.
That is very cool.
I compete with myself.
Who inspires you?
That's a really good question. Who am I inspired by these days? I don't think a person inspires me. I think my age I use my age as an inspiration because I'm keenly aware that, at age 53, I may not have as many days ahead of me as I have behind me. So it inspires me to make sure that I get the most out of the time I have to spend. I like that.
I like that.
Okay.
Are you good in an emergency situation?
Yes.
Yes. So you're the man to take care of it?
Even though I can be frustrated and, seemingly freaking out when little things go wrong, when big things go wrong, I get very quiet and calm. I had a near, I don't want this to sound too dramatic, but it's pretty dramatic. I had a near-death experience in an airplane when I first started flying. It's funny, in aviation there's a phrase for it. It's called the 100-hour scare. And after 100 hours, it's when you haven't been flying long enough to take it for granted, but you've been flying long enough where it's the novelty of the first 100 hours is worn off. And I took a chance one day and flew in conditions I shouldn't have. When things went wrong, they went wrong at a disturbingly, mind-blowingly rapid manner. But for a couple of things I remembered from some training I'd had recently, I would have I flew into a cloud by mistake before I was licensed to. And it's the kind of thing, and strangely enough, it's a thing that killed JFK. Basically, you just become disoriented as to what is up and what is down. And because you're not instrument rated yet, although I am now, you don't know enough to just fly the instruments, so you fly by what your inner ear feels. The short of it, by the way, it's a great long story, but I'll give you the short version is, it started to go so bad so quickly it shocked me into doing this one thing that I was taught to do, and I I saved myself. But yeah, I got pretty quiet. And it's funny because the person I was with was a passenger who was not a pilot and had no idea we'd come that close to just dying.
Oh, wow.
We came seconds away from me being not able to recover the airplane. So I was pretty calm. Is that a long? I know that was a long answer to your question.
No, that's fantastic. Do you still go out to concerts?
I think the last concert I saw was at the Molson Amphitheater a couple summers ago.
Is there a concert, if it came to town, you'd have to go to it?
No, I mean I would have said Steely Dan, but I've seen them like 4 times in the last 7 years, and I think I'm sort of done now.
You're done now?
Yeah. I think if I got a chance to go see Louis C.K., I would go out of my house to see him.
Oh, yeah.
At Massey Hall or something like that. I'd love that.
So comedy.
Yeah, that would be the thing that would get me to go, if I could see Louis C.K.
All right. So where can people find Humble and Fred?
At humbleandfredradio.com. And, of course, the men's shelter on Sherburne. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Howard. I would like to thank Sean Peaver for the music. I'd like to thank the technical crew of Pod Almighty and all the guests of She Asks. I would also like to thank Netflix for being our sponsor. Netflix.com/Pod Almighty.